Hi everyone, I'm GREYMOND. Today I just wanted to remind you that OCD is a numbers game. It's how many times you're paying attention to the thoughts and doing compulsions versus how many times you're disregarding and pushing through. That's how your brain determines if the thought is important or not. This is all that matters in OCD recovery. Everything else is just an addition. This is really the main thing. If you don't do ERP, if you don't start to make the numbers that you disregard go up and make the numbers that you give in go down, if you don't start doing that, you cannot recover. There's no way you can recover without doing proper ERP. And when I say ERP, and obviously I mean exposure and response prevention, the point of ERP is the response prevention, not the exposure. Because a lot of the times the person gets focused on the exposure, but if you're too focused on the exposure and then you give in to you don't do response prevention, you give in because the exposure is overwhelming, right? That's not good. So you need to do exposures that you can handle and continuously grow and improve. And it's a process. It's not, you can't, jump to the highest exposure in your hierarchy. It's just too difficult right now. That's fine. But every day you need to make steps forward. So you can say, okay, if you look at like the last week, for example, during the last week I made a push on this made a big difference in my life. Okay, good. Now next week something else like this. If you're kind of looking at the last week saying, you know I think I made a little bit of a push, but it's very, very small. Depending on your situation, if you have a lot going on, if you're very stressed out, it's okay, but it will be a very slow recovery process. And there's some situations where this is unavoidable. If you're really busy, if there's just a lot going on in your life, maybe the small push is all you can handle. But you need to know for yourself that you are moving forward. And the best way to do that is to actually count how many times you are giving into the thoughts. If it's rumination, just like pure type of OCD, then count the minutes. So approximately how many minutes did I give in and actively analyze the thought? Paid attention to the thought, try to solve it. Actively, meaning not that the thought came in, but how many times did you pay attention? Kind of dove into the thought. For how many minutes, rather. And in terms of physical compulsion, that's pretty straightforward. So every time you do a physical compulsion, you count it. And that's the progression forward. And you could say, I had a hard week, but even though I did this, this, and this, and I'm proud of myself that I did this. And in the moment you feel like I absolutely can't, but then you will see that, oh, actually it works. And then it gets easier. It's just the process of OCD recovery. It's a process. It takes time. A lot of the times also people kind of think that it's all or nothing. If I can't handle doing the recovery work right now, I will never recover. That's not true. So if you are kind of listening to me right now and you find that you're nowhere close to where I want you to be, then don't worry about it. Do your best, but do something. So if you're doing 90%, rumination, compulsions, and only 10% this week, pushing through, can you do 15% pushing through next week? So in terms of numbers, you need to see a decrease in numbers. So it doesn't matter if, say, for example, you did, say, 100 compulsions in the course of a day, and then the next day, if you do 90, that's already good. If you do 70, that would make it a lot faster, though. So you have to see, again, going back to that, there's a balance, right? So it's what you can handle in your situation with your stress levels, how it is right now for you. And I find generally that people, as they're going through recovery process, the beginning is always the slowest because the person is very afraid. And then as the anxiety goes down, as you get more certain that the recovery process works, it starts to speed up. So in the beginning, if you find that it's so hard, I can't do it, you can do it. You can do 1% less. Can you do 1%? Can you do 0.5% less than yesterday? So you did 200 compulsions. Can you do 199? 198? just something, but every single day. You can't skip a day, because if you're skipping a day, then you're going backwards. I would say, um, if this wouldn't be much, in the example I gave you, right? Just to minimize by a little bit. I really can't think of a situation where you wouldn't. But say if you had some sort of a really big event to go to, or some sort of a unpredictable situation that is happening now, okay, yeah, but just stay afloat. When there's more stress, you need to recognize that stress equals OCD. So if you are experiencing stress right now, OCD is coming. An OCD hit is coming. So you need to be prepared for it, that yes, something is going to come up. It's going to trigger me somehow. Not exactly sure how, but somehow. And when it comes, I will choose to disregard. And this whole thing where you got stressed, OCD came, you disregarded. That's the exposure and response prevention. It doesn't matter if it's physical compulsion or just a thought that you felt like you had to solve, right? This is real life exposure and response prevention. And this is what you have to do all the time. If you're prepared, then it will not get you as much as if you are surprised, right? I hope you find my videos helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. I do daily videos about all things related to OCD recovery. If you would like to do one-on-one recovery program, all the information is on youhaveocd.com. You can sign up from there. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.